Have you ever looked up to somebody? Maybe to the point of saying, I want to be like them one day. Maybe growing up as a kid, it was your favorite sports star saying, man, one day I want to hit a baseball like he can hit a baseball. I want to throw a football like he can throw a football. And maybe looking at your father or your mother saying, one day I want to be like them. Most of you have met my dad, and I am so much like him. Growing up, watching him all of my life saying, one day I'm going to be like my dad, and I have turned into my father. In fact, there are moments in my life where I say things and I go, that was my dad. Like that was just my dad. And if you've heard him talk, I sound just like him. So now I hear him when I say things. We all have somebody we wanted to be like. Or maybe you still have that somebody you want to be like. When we get to this last section in Matthew chapter 5, when Christ finishes this pattern of, you have heard it was said, but I say to you, he speaks of a very sensitive subject that truly goes down and boils down to the heart of the man. What do we actually look like when it comes to our heart? That's truly what Christ has been getting at the entire Sermon on the Mount up until this point of what we truly are and who we truly are and what flows from our heart. Are we somebody who merely looks the part, or are we somebody who really are the real deal? And the love for other people flow from our heart. For we're able to control the anger that's in our heart. We're able to control the lust that is in our heart. The root of the problem of divorce is in the heart. Allowing our yes to be yes and our no to be no, flowing from our heart. Turning the other cheek flows from our heart. And he gets down to, I believe, one of the most difficult subjects in this section of Scripture when he says, for you have heard it was said to love your neighbor and hate your enemies. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. I think of this statement of loving your enemies and I go, hold on. But Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 1 tells me to be imitators of God as a beloved child, to walk in love as Christ loved. I think sometimes when we think about this concept of loving our enemies, most of us turn the page. I don't want to. I don't want to love those people who don't love me. I don't want to love those people who I would consider my enemy. Maybe because they're of a different nation that our nation has labeled as an enemy. I think of Christ with the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, who the Jewish nation has labeled the Samaritans their enemies. They're gross. They're not like us. Maybe that is who we identify as our enemy. Maybe it's somebody who treats us poorly. Maybe it's the kid in school that bullied us. The neighbor who builds a fence even though you didn't want the fence. I got to thinking about this sentimental value in the heart of the matter, really. And I thought to myself, I'm probably more willing to forgive and love those who hurt me, but if you hurt my family, if you hurt my wife, if you hurt my children, there will never be forgiveness from me. And as I sat in my office and in my truck and out in a deer stand this week thinking about this concept, my heart began to burn. And I thought, my God sent his son while we were still sinners for me. While we were enemies of him. Romans chapter 5 tells us that he sent his son for us.